All right. Another episode of Whatever Happened to the Game. And joining me so far is Ultra Finn, and maybe Albeleo will join us later. But here we are. And of course, it wouldn't be complete without welcome. Starting with
there.
the game news. So, some of this is just what this channel is going to be doing. If I reach 2K subscribers, I am going to be continuing the Doom mod known as Castlevania Simon's Destiny. It lets you play what is essentially a version of the first Castlevania, only you're in the first person as Simon. So, also, next year is the 40th anniversary of the original Castlevania. So, there's going to be some projects on my Discord. I'm coordinating a documentary type film for YouTube with my other Discord members, and you can join it too. If you join the Discord, I'll get the name out, my Discord name, for anyone who's interested, and you can make a request that way. Yeah, 40 years already. The other big thing of news was that in the first month, the game known as Dispatch did better than the Telltale games that came before it. It's actually not Telltale, it's by Ad Hoc, but it follows the style of Telltale games. So 2 million in the first month, that's pretty good. A lot of games don't sell that quickly, but this one did. It got immense promotion on YouTube. That's all I can say. I think everyone's YouTube feed is flooded with things from Dispatch.
Well, I cannot say much about it because I didn't play that game, but I still consider it as a Telltale game because it does brings with the decisions that you made, that you are going to make.
Yeah, and it has a lot of the voice actors from the previous Telltale games in it. Some of them are actual YouTubers, who've had a lot of subscribers, obviously, but they're voicing. The Penguin Zero is the guy who just looks like a bat in that game.
Right.
And of course, they have the actor from not the main star of Breaking Bad, but the co-star, the supporting actor from Breaking Bad, as the main character. But
to be fair, the voice actor, the voice of from the main actor of this game, kind of, I don't know why, but his voice almost sounded like Troy Baker.
It did almost. It did. It's a deep voice for sure.
Yeah, I mean. He did also play the role of Indiana Dr. Jones on that new game Indiana Jones, which
The Great Circle, right?
Oh, the Great Circle. Which honestly, I was fooled. I was fooled because I thought that was actually Harrison's Ford voice. Maybe modded AI as when he was young or something like that. But no. Actually, it was again Troy Baker who played the role, and it was. I was shocked. Seriously.
Yeah,
and he's not the first. He's not the first voice actor who did that to me.
No, I mean, I'm surprised they didn't start having new actors to play Indiana Jones when he was younger in the more recent movies. Like, I mean, sure, they could ask Chris Pratt or Anthony Ingruber, but I think Chris Pratt would be the more likely choice if they chose someone else besides Harrison Ford to be Indiana Jones when he was younger.
Yeah, but let's be honest. There won't be anyone who is so full of himself or too brave, but also dumb at the same time, knowing that he has no bullets in his gun than Harrison Ford himself.
Yeah, that's true.
let's be honest. Even on Star Wars, he was goofy. I mean, he was chasing the stormtroopers. He thought he was gonna win against, and then we saw all army and
Yeah, that was the first one. He ran down, shot one, and they
it
all
was
started
like
chasing him.
it was like oh boy, bye bye. To be honest, if I was in his place, I would have sat down and taken like a man. I don't care if I would have died.
Yeah.
But he deserved it. He deserved it. Now he was like, let's get out of here. Come on. Oh
So,
boy.
more or less, unlike previous games, this one is not available on websites right now. I wish it were. It's not even on the Switch store yet, which is there might be some kind of dispute with Konami, I would think, because other games, even Castlevania ones, are either available as on the Switch store for earlier Nintendo consoles like SNES. So the Nintendo 64 ones, even though they were on Nintendo, they aren't there yet.
if they would have tried to add to the collections like how they did with the first three projects of the Castlevania games, I mean, maybe somewhere among the lists it would have fit perfectly if they would have added the Castlevania Nintendo 64 for people who didn't play it. They could because like instead of playing on the emulator, just get the collection that contains within the other games, and that's it. But for some reason, they did not want to. They didn't add it, or either they had a dispute with Konami, or more precisely with the Nintendo people, or something, or they mostly didn't have enough resources to add the Nintendo 64 version.
I like it better. I like playing Nintendo 64 better with the Switch. I mean, the dual joystick that the Switch has is our preferred way of controlling.
Yeah, because you can control your camera and the movement with your player at the same time. Because originally on the Nintendo 64 controller, you only have like one analog stick, which doesn't quite help much. Doesn't quite help much with just looking with the camera left, right, up, down, and stuff like that, and you control your main character with the directional D-pads, because the way how the game looks, it was meant to use with the left analog stick from the PlayStation 3, for example.
Right. And so C-Bash, like what you're saying, they already have Lords of Shadow for PlayStation and Steam. So it wouldn't be as big of a priority for them to remaster. I mean, I could see them doing a remaster of Lords of Shadow because of how old it will be. I mean, let's see, the most recent one was 2014 was Lords of Shadow 2, so
don't forget it was also Mirror of Fate.
Mirror of Fate, yeah. That's on Steam as well. All the Lords of Shadow ones are on Steam.
And to be fair, the only thing that got HD or a remastered version was actually Mirror of Fate, because Mirror of Fate was originally on Nintendo 3DS.
Right.
And then they decided to take the game again, make some modifications to the graphics and HD graphics to be supported to be played on Steam, on the PlayStation 3 console or Xbox, and it has much better graphics than it has on the 3DS. To be fair,
right?
Not to mention that you can see the movements, the lips from the characters in the cutscenes, that they're actually moving and they're talking, not like saying like they're talking from their mouth closed. Because
And I would just say, C-Bash, so far I'm having a good time with the PlayStation controller for Steam. I've tried the Switch, but it seems the Switch starts drifting for whatever reason. I'm not sure why. Like the joysticks where it starts turning without me pushing the stick. It's weird.
Maybe it is possible that it's not really fully compatible for PC, because it only works because this some controllers do not actually work properly functional for laptops or PC, because they do say that it's only compatible. Compatible doesn't really guarantee 100% that it's gonna actually work okay. It's
Right.
just it only says that it's only compatible, but it only works on certain times. So that's my base. That's what I think. When it comes to PC, if you want to use a controller, the best option is still an Xbox controller.
Right. Because it's Microsoft.
Because it's Microsoft, and you also have the program that will help you to adjust and upgrade your controller if there's some new updates that you need to add it in
Right.
case it doesn't work automatically. And that's pretty much it with that. So yeah, I'm pretty sure that pretty kind of means what's happening with Nintendo Switch controller. I mean, I don't own a Nintendo Switch controller, but I did had a buddy who had a Nintendo Switch controller, and he tried to play it on his computer, and he was trying to play some Need for Speed, for example, right?
Yeah.
And he had issue. He had issue when it comes to drifting because he was holding the accelerator. He did not lean to left or right at all, or even try to drift. It did it automatically by himself. So compatibility isn't really as it's all cracked up to be.
No, it isn't. And I mean, obviously, Steam is something that, where just because you can use it on Steam, it's the other way around. It just doesn't mean you can't. You can use it on other emulators or.
No,
you're not banned, Alex. You're here. So there's been a little delay on comments showing up on the live, so you should be okay.
So yeah, exactly. That's what I'm trying to say because just because that it says that you can use the original PlayStation 4 on Steam or the original Nintendo Switch controller on Steam, that doesn't mean anything because if the games won't work properly correct using those controllers, it's just a gadget for you to control the big mode on Steam.
Yeah.
And to just change the color from the light of the controller.
More or less. But going forward, there was quite a road to Castlevania 64. So there was a major canceled project codenamed the Bloodletting. It was during the time where Sega had the 32-bit upgrade where they didn't. Hello, traveler. I hope it's going great over there. But they, Sega had the 32, and they had previously done Bloodlines, so they had the project codenamed the Bloodletting. They canceled it, and that's how they went into doing development for Symphony of the Night. But they put quite a bit into the Bloodletting, but eventually they set up a new studio to handle new games coming up called Konami Computer Entertainment Kobe. So that was Konami's new studio after they had their rather canceled project, and they started working on Symphony of the Night. And they also wanted to work on obviously a 3D one because they saw in 1997 now they have Mario in 3D with Mario 64, and that they had Metal Gear Solid coming up, and so on.
Well, to be fair, Metal Gear Solid, the first ones was on the PS1. I really cannot consider them as a 3D thing. And as for Castlevania Bloodlines, yeah, I mean, I understand why they wanted to give up on the bloodletting because apparently bloodletting is almost similar to Bloodlines, and I think there was going to be like the same levels and same boss fights, by my opinion. And you also have only two characters: the one that uses the whip, or the other one that uses the spear. And they didn't want to make something that's something similar to what they already created. That's for the Sega Genesis or Mega Drive. They just wanted to create something else, and that is why they decided to go with Symphony of the Nights. And if I'm not mistaken, it wasn't only just Symphony of the Nights they just did back here. If I can check it out here,
Oh, go
because
ahead.
I know I have the list right here from the Dominus collections. All right, so
They've had Bloodlines in 1994. At that point, they were coming really close to when the Sony PS1 was coming out. So the end of 94 was when they had the Sony PlayStation first get released.
the
And then
title
they had to try to catch up with it because it was still on Nintendo, Super NES, and Sega Genesis, and 32-bit Sega 32. But the Sony PlayStation was higher performing than either of them.
so the titles that they also worked on besides Symphony of the Night, they also worked for the Dawn of Sorrow, Portrait of
Right.
Ruin, and Order of Ecclesia.
Yeah,
Ecclesia, right.
right.
That was also a good project. So, in my personal opinion, they did a good job, regardless what everybody is saying.
Right. There were more hiccups too, because they were trying to develop the 3D engine because they needed an engine for 64, and that engine obviously needed some tuning. So they ended up it was really slow until 1998, and in 1998 was a major rush, which they finally got it in the early part of 1999. I'll be right back. Okay, no, I'm not. I'm good. Yeah, I mean, NES is pretty complete at this point with the Switch Store, and that's why I've liked having the first generation Switch. It's also like I'm not getting a Switch 2 because I just got the Switch 1 last year, dang it.
Yeah, but Switch 2 won't make any difference between Switch 1, if you ask me. It's just
No.
it's
Well, Switch 2 does allow you to run GameCube games, but I have them. I've got a Wii, and I play the GameCube games on the Wii, so
yeah. That's the only difference. That's the only difference. If they would have just like I don't know, update more and added some more games into the Nintendo Switch 2, like more NES, more Genesis and stuff like that. But no, they only added like piece by piece, and that's that. They
right.
didn't. They don't. That's why people are using emulators and ROMs. Let's be honest, because you get to play a lot of much more games like that than just pay for a subscribe to just play the only a few games. I mean, sure, okay, you get to play online with people, co-op online, like how it was for Super Mario 3D World and other games like that with the Super Mario
Right.
World Kart and stuff. But you need to ask yourself, is it really all worth that? I mean, yeah, okay, definitely for some people, people would say yes, it is worth it. But for some, I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. As far as I know, you and I haven't exactly been the kind who have done as much of the online mass multiplayer scene. Part of it's just the product of the time because I was that's what I was used to. I was used to going to a friend, we play Halo multiplayer on an Xbox console all in the same room, and it
Mhm.
worked. Same with
Yeah,
even now. I'm playing Mario Sunshine or Worms 3D on the Wii with my children. So
yeah, it's this. It's exactly the same thing. I mean, me and my father used to play on the PlayStation 3 co-op with Killzone 3. Only the screen was so split into it in half each. One has to look above on the on the left side, the other one right down below. Like, wow, what a way to do a co-op split screen.
yeah, what a way to do it. Uh, what a way. But as they finally did it, Konami Keck, KCEK finally got it development done. They did it. They did that concept demonstration at the Tokyo Gaming Convention of what you see right here, Carmilla, but they didn't include her in the final game. She could have been in 3D in that game, but they felt it was too much.
Probably it was.
So that was more it. Now we're going to go to the release. So now there were different game boxes. So if you were in Europe, the top one is what you would have gotten if you purchased it in Europe. So that's the European version of the game. North America, like United States or Canada, the one on the bottom is what you would have gotten. And that's the game. So there was different variants on the game cases, and the PAL one or top one is the more rare version of the game case you have today. It's worth a lot more because it's hard to find.
Right.
But this one on the bottom, that's the more common one. So this is one of the cases where the United States and Canada got the release before even Japan did. They got it in January 26th. So it was just missed because in those areas, that's where they have Christmas. So they missed that by going on January 26th. But I don't know, better complete than...
It's better complete than nothing, if you ask me. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah. But so I'm tempted, even though this is the one I have, I'm tempted to see if anyone has the more rare PAL version, because the PAL version also has actual voices for the characters too. The European version has the characters voiced by the actual actors in the game, where they say a couple lines of dialogue, and it has the opening narration by Scott McCulloch, who was Richter in the first Symphony of the Night, and Scott was also in the early Resident Evil games. He sadly passed on because he was in a car accident in Japan. His taxi car crashed, unfortunately. But so he was unfortunately lost too soon. But Andrew Henningsen is the voice of Reinhardt. Bianca Allen, Carrie, and Scott McCulloch is the narrator, his final voice in a Castlevania game. So actually, this is funny. I'm going to actually show this because it's like, I'm going to show the Simon Captain N outfit, because that's where they got the whole idea for Reinhardt from, which is funny because Captain N was just more or less a parody on television of Nintendo characters. But, Simon's dressed up like a mountain climber in it, pretty much.
Yeah, well, he was raised by the people who were living in the mountains, to be fair. I mean, that story was told on the Castlevania Lords of Shadows too.
Right. Yeah. And not only Lords of Shadow, but the family name, Belmont, is the French name for a beautiful mountain. Yeah. So I'm going to share window real quick. That should be share window. But yeah, I mean, Simon Belmont in the TV series is a goofball.
Oh my god. Don't know why he reminds me of somebody, but I prefer to keep my mouth shut.
Yeah. Mountain climber Simon, I say. But finally, we get to the release. Oh, of course, and there were 3 composers. They had. I'm not sure why they didn't get Michiru Yamane to do this one. She first composed for Bloodlines on Sega Genesis, and most of the other ones after that, she has been the main composer for. in terms of Castlevania, aside from Lords of Shadow. But no,
Maybe she was sick or something.
maybe. Then there was of course there was a Legacy of Darkness, and Legacy of Darkness was when they took. Yeah, because he's a goofball in that one. So they said, okay, we have these cut concepts, we want to get them back in. So they brought Cornell the werewolf back in, and they brought in Henry. So Henry's down there. I'm gonna actually get a thing for it. Oh, real quick. So, but more or less, Henry's a rare case in Castlevania where you actually have a character using a gun or a firearm as a main weapon. Okay. So yeah, like for Henry, it's interesting because there's a time limit, and yeah, Traveler. Actually, Henry uses a revolver. It would be one of the earliest cases of revolver, considering the revolver was invented just a few years earlier. Before what this would be 1847. So yeah, the revolvers would be relatively new, but he's got a revolver with silver bullets.
That's interesting. And he's wearing a knight armor or something like that.
Yeah, he's wearing a breastplate and a helmet, which to me it makes sense. If you've got monsters who could bite you, you might as well have some protection, right?
Yep, as the old say, better safe than sorry.
Exactly. But no, he fires a revolver. He has 6 shots before he has to do a little reload. But he's got some distance he can fire at.
Dude, are you blind? You can't shoot the... Okay, never mind.
Yeah, so in this game, if we go into the Reinhardt, you get that same boss after you hit the gate. You get the skeleton ape, and it goes at you, but you have to, get the skeleton, and you get all these other skeletons coming at you too.
And the only way to do it is with silver bullets. This is not something I'd see. What happened with the whip? Holy water!
That's what Reinhardt is. That's the Reinhardt part. So Reinhardt is the one with the whip, and he doesn't have the name Belmont, but that's because he only had daughters. So it's his grandson, Richter's grandson, who has the whip. He's his direct descendant, but he just doesn't have the name Belmont because it wasn't from father to son all the way. And now obviously they retconned the whole idea of Reinhard Schneider, but as you remember, in Mirror of Fate, you had Michael Schneider, which is a reference to Reinhardt's father.
Yeah, that's true. Well, I think he offed himself.
Yeah, he jumped into the river. More or less. But that was just the Henry part. But now we're gonna try the Reinhardt. Play. And thank you, Kawhi. It's nice of you to include your footage here for reference. I'll get it set up here. Dang. There we go. There we are. They did originally want to call Reinhardt, and he technically is, but eventually Iga or Koji Igarashi didn't want to have it be that the Belmonts were succeeded for a time for his own projects with Order of Ecclesia and for not Bloodlines, but Portrait of Ruin. So as you can see, you have the game paused. It's really early switch activations, but all these things we had in, say, Lament of Innocence and Curse of Darkness with switches and jumping, we have it here. It's just that it's a little less smooth.
I'm pretty sure there are some whip upgrades like it was from the NES.
There are. You find it's a 3-dimensional version of the whip upgrade to Morningstar like you had in the originals, but it just drops like when you break a torch. So it's partially there. As you can see, you can do ledge grabbing like a lot of other games from around that time.
Right.
But you hit in the upper right, you have your sub weapon. And you have your gold. So you can actually, there is a shop guy in this game, a shopkeeper in this game. He's actually a demon called Radon, and if you buy too much from him, he becomes one of the boss battles. So this game has diverging paths in a way.
So basically, buy less and you don't have to fight the keeper.
Yeah. Or you don't have to pay the devil his due, so to speak. And of course, exploding skeletons. Oh. Like that one.
Oh god, the blue skeletons are the explosive ones. Great.
Yes.
Just what we needed. I mean, is it too much to ask for just a normal enemy without the reviving or explode and kamikaze?
Yeah, the crazy part is this is the early part of the game. Yeah, I mean, this game did have fall damage, but to be fair, it was a really big fall. You had to fall to get damage, but it is there. Coffin. Oh, I wonder why.
Really? An empty coffin and you wonder why it's empty? Odd. Empty room. What a shocking surprise.
All right, I'll jump it a little bit so we can also get a look at Carrie eventually too. So I'm going to skip a little bit. A demon to be working, one needs gold, even when surely we were fated to meet. Yeah. So you can summon Renan if you ever find a scroll on the ground. That's it. But some of the other mechanics from this game are pretty useful, like being able to slide, so you can slide underneath certain obstacles or traps. I mean, the clock tower climb is pretty good. Pretty good. Actually,
Wait, is that the guy who you buy the things or?
Yeah, that's Renan.
Oh god, so that means buy too much, you have to fight him. Oh boy.
This is Malice. You're right to feel creeped out by him. But this is the part where you have to run through a castle with a bottle of nitroglycerin.
What? Nitroglycerin?
Yeah. It's this part of the game where if you get hit by something, you die. If you jump, you die. If you fall, you die.
Really?
Yes.
So jump, die. Fall, die. So what are you supposed to do?
You're supposed to make it past a bunch of obstacles, such as go across a bridge, don't get hit by enemies blowing fireballs at you, and then get it into the Colosseum, and then explode the nitro.
Wait a minute. What about slide? What happens if you slide?
I don't think that. I think sliding actually is okay, but the problem is you don't really have things to slide under in this nitroglycerin run. See, that guy's gonna throw something at you.
Well, duh, he's not gonna stand around and do nothing.
Well, this is the short one. This is where you get to look at the start at the observation. But the harder nitro run is where you have to go through all the way back to the Colosseum with the nitro.
Oh my god!
Yeah. But no, in this game, they finally did it so that there's other vampires in here, and if they bite you, you get the vampire sickness.
It's the only law of nature. Once you get bitten by a vampire, you become a vampire.
Hopefully not. Hopefully, some people get cured like the identical Alucard twins. But yeah, this is one of the stashes that's worth finding. But they just have so much in here. I mean, it's a little harder than Lament of Innocence because you can't do the grapple whip swing. But otherwise, you just so. This is the other nitro run where you have to get back to the Colosseum. And yes, they've got motorcycles.
Yeah, which we cannot ride in the entire castle.
Well, motorcycles in 1852? Come on. I don't think they had combustion engines yet.
I would say it's beat running.
Yeah. But no, they did intend this at one point to be a sequel to Bloodlines, but that was Portrait of Ruin that it chose to be the Bloodlines sequel. So this was originally meant to happen like World War II, hence why the motorcycles, but they kept it. That and Reinhardt can actually use a sword, not just carry it on his belt like Simon. So
Or just
you can
throw it like a dagger.
right, but in this game you can. It's kind of useful to have the sword because it's closer range, obviously, than the whip, but you can be faster
And you
in
can
between
defend.
sword strikes. Yeah.
Because I'm pretty sure just having holy water cross and all that, it's not enough. I mean, how it was on the NES. It would have been nice if they added a different weapon besides the whip, like that, like with the sword. Because you can
Oh
learn how,
yeah.
because you can learn to block your attacks or even try to parry if it was possible.
Yeah. Uh, so I'm gonna get this, and that should be pretty good. Then we'll go over the reception and other parts of this game. So yes, the behemoth you got in Rondo of Blood, you actually get to see it as a full body in this game.
Yeah, half skeleton, half live.
Uh,
Oh boy, this is not gonna be pretty.
no. What good is the Coliseum in Castlevania without a good monster in it? This is one of the times where the camera angles is a real annoyance in this game. Is you can't control it. Obviously, it's an early Nintendo 64 game, but you wish you could, because obviously this big behemoth goes around in circles. So it makes you wish you could at least keep the camera locked onto him when you do it. Oh, he's got an eyeball in his mouth too.
I was about to say that. I just noticed. Was that an actual eye, or was it something else?
It's an eyeball in its mouth.
That's strange. That's a strange creature. Oh, now I understand why it has an eyeball in its mouth, because that eyeball can shoot lasers.
Yeah. So this is Carrie. Obviously, she can use sub weapons and she casts fireballs, but it's a little tricky with her because it takes her some time to let the fireball go.
Not to mention the aim is a bit annoying.
Yeah, the camera angles aren't as refined in this yet. This is 1999. But as you can see, the behemoth starts losing its body as it takes damage.
Yeah, but that unfortunately that doesn't reveal that it's its weakness. I mean, the damage is a bit low, if you ask me.
Yeah, she has more range, so they developed it by giving her less damage per hit.
Yeah, which is
for all her range. Yeah,
and not even the cross works effectively like it was on the other games.
Yeah, so in this game, obviously, they try to make it 3D by making the cross boomerang in a round arc. to come back to you. Huh. And of course, you can go to your menu and eat your food items like you would later do in Lament of Innocence. So I'm going to go ahead to the clock tower, climb. So for Carrie, it's a little different than Reinhardt. You don't have the direct clock tower climb, but you go through the steamworks. So you have to avoid all these little spikes and the hot steam. But now, the one thing that's interesting about this game is there is an actual time limit. Although most of this time limit issue is used by you skipping ahead from day to night or night to day. Oh, yeah, that's what Traveler's talking about, the lasers and machine guns in the basement. See you later, Traveler. Mm-hmm. Makes you wonder what else is in his lab, in the laboratory.
I don't think I want to find out if there's a Frankenstein in there, because in all laboratories in the castle, there's always a Frankenstein.
Oh, no, you met Frankenstein earlier in the garden. He's got a chainsaw, too.
Really? He's trying to
Yes.
take whatever.
Yes.
Is he trying to take Leatherface's place or something like that?
I think so. So now they also have gas chainsaws in the 19th century too. But this part is interesting because you can slip a little bit because this is ice you're walking on.
It's ice.
Right. But this person, Kawhi, is obviously experienced enough to know that just jump. Don't try to stop. Mm-hmm. So I don't slide off the edge. This is just pretty incredible. If you're doing the Carrie's little ice climb, or if you're doing Reinhardt's little clock tower climb. But no, they had so many mechanics you'd think they wouldn't have at this point yet. Slippery ice, they've got it. I mean, this game is just, by some people's arguments, this game is one of the best attempts at translating Castlevania's side-scrolling mechanics into 3D. I'm actually going to go to the Reinhardt one to show the clock tower because there's a different way of doing it. Clock tower. So this is the bottom part of the clock tower. More or less. We got to find the keys, and you got to avoid these pendulum blades, guillotine blades, and the bone pillars. So it's closer to what you get in the older Castlevania games. Grab the water, man.
He refused.
Well, that's his choice, not mine.
He cannot carry any more items. Oh, no, don't do that. No. Why do I get the feeling that he's going to buy something and now he's going to make the merchant angry and he's going to fight?
Yeah. And that's the one thing. The other part is, I'm going to get into the other part, the lore parts of this game, too. And yes, the Grim Reaper can actually fly in this one.
What?
He's got wings, yeah. So he flies away from you, and you can still hit the sickles, but you gotta watch out because he'll swing the main scythe at you, too.
Not to mention that he can summon the shadow creatures as well.
Yeah. Ouch.
But the whip is doing a pretty good job. Look at his health bar.
Yeah. I mostly just ran around.
Wow, random. He just hit him by accident. I don't know how he did it, but
Gosh, you thought wait for you in hell. Great old English, that's all I've got to say. So now it's more time to go over the other parts of this thing. This is quite a bit of a game as it is. So these are actually a bunch of the real life lore they've gotten here that they included in this game. Unique characters in the franchise, including Gilles de Rais, a French knight convicted and executed for being a serial killer, along with. So Gilles de Rais in this game, he's pretending to be Dracula. You don't get the true Dracula unless you complete the game in under a certain amount of time. So
in other words, you need to beat it as fast as possible,
right,
to get the true ending. It's like the game is challenging you to do a speed run.
Yeah, it is. Although it's not too hard to get it under the right amount of time to meet true Dracula, but yeah, it's funny. They use the character of Gilles de Rais. They never used him again in another Castlevania game, which is funny, even though they made the origin of Dracula in Castlevania under Iga be that he's a French knight. So, I don't know. And of course, yeah, no, go ahead.
Well, at least in the other Castlevania games, they did not require to beat on a certain amount of time to get the true ending, because that would be annoying.
Yeah, that would be. Of course, they used the actual real-life French castle, Château des Ais de Redoux, in they used it as the model for Dracula's castle in this game as well. You see that's on the left.
Mm-hmm.
And Cornell, he showed up in Castlevania Judgment and in Lords of Shadow as a different Cornell.
Yeah, he was one of the Lycans.
Yep.
He was the Shadow Lord for the wolves, indeed.
Yeah. And the other little bit of trivia they have here is that Carrie, her other dress, which she has in Legacy of Darkness, it's the same pink dress that Maria wears in Rondo of Blood. So, hey, I'll check that out on your birthday stream, Seabash. I'll check it out right there. Thanks for letting me know. Oh yeah, and obviously Cornell didn't appear but just about every Castlevania character is in Vampire Survivors at this point. Which is sad because it's not officially Castlevania, but the other games are doing more of it. So, next week, Deus Ex, and after that, on the week before Christmas in North America, we are doing 2025, the year in review. So, well, it's more of an open stream, and we talk about our favorite movies and most disappointing movies, favorite video games, most disappointing video games. So, you're welcome to stop by on the next two streams. Thanks for joining me in this one.
Sure, no problem. Anytime.
So, so Deus Ex, have you played any of those games in that series? If not,
I have. It was called the Human Revolution.
All right, I played that too. I also played the original but I like the mod from 2016 called Revision better.
I like I said, that was the only one that I touched. I did not touch the entire franchise of the game, but I'm pretty sure. But I will eventually one of these days. But Human Revolution is something I do have some information I would gladly discuss.
Yeah, but I prefer to this day obviously the first Deus Ex came out in 2000, and back then the way they did the graphics was relatively primitive. They were using the Unreal Engine at the time, but I like the Revision mod because it improves greatly on how they made improved versions of the environments in there. Because I played the original Deus Ex, and it does not look like a major urban area in the city map of the game. But when they do the Revision mod, it looks more like it. You see that you have the alleyways added in, you have labels on the various bodegas or stores that make it look more compelling of an appearance. So it should be interesting. And you were you've been in some of these episodes, so you'd probably enjoy talking about your favorite and most disappointing movies and games of the year for 2025 in review. So that should be pretty good. Other than that, next year is two 40th anniversaries. One's Castlevania, the other is Legend of Zelda, are both having their 40th anniversary next year. So it should be a big year for 2026. So thank you everyone for stopping by. We'll start next week, same time, same channel.